Yeah, 316. Got game and pulled out his own Atari. I said sorry, I'ma have to pass like Nash to Amari. Tiger up early on a Sunday, sinking birdies while the pigskin spinning through the air, tight and birdie. It's a TD, it's a TKO, a home run, it's a hat trick. Ain't no way to be an all-star without practice. So if you down to sacrifice your life for a draft pick, it's a pretty sweet position you can live in if you have some things in the air. If you got game, wave like you just don't care. If you got game, playing like you got no fit, and you got game. If you came here to win, yeah, you got game.
Hey there, welcome to another edition of Local Music Somewhere. I'm your host, Greazy Keyz. In the studio today for Local Music Somewhere, we have the band Phat Waffle, bringing us the sweet sounds. Welcome to the rBeatz studio, guys. Hey, I want to introduce you guys from right to left. So over here on the right, we have Mr. Michael Haywood on guitar.
What's up, y'all?
In the back there, we got Mr. Josh Kogas on drums. We got Mr. Max Williams on bass. Will Bose on keys. Hey. And Lauren Ashley L.A. Kogas in the studio. Happy birthday. Birthday girl. Celebrating her birthday here with us live in the studio. So welcome you guys to the studio. So first things first, how did Phat Waffle come together? Because you guys are literally like a supergroup of local musicians here in Charlotte. And so how do you guys find the time to make it happen? How did you guys get together?
Yeah, so I guess I'll jump in on kind of like the background.
Yeah.
Because really, I think what's interesting is the band formed maybe in, I want to say it's like 2011
that
we actually formed.
Wow.
We had a gig at Bailey's. It used to, I don't know what it is now. Yeah, it was a billiards place off of Pineville Matthews Road.
Yeah.
And it was me and Will and Josh, and I think Max sat in with us on that gig. And immediately after that gig, you just became the bass player. And so it really just formed like immediately from this one gig that we had.
In 2011?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And then I would say at about, we were doing local cover gigs mostly for about a year and a half until we had like disbanded because we had like other opportunities pop up and other things that we were doing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I moved away like about 4 years ago.
That's right.
And whenever I decided to move back to Charlotte, because I just missed being with my people, that we were like, hey, let's form the band back together. It's been a long time, but
that's right. Because you did a stint in Nashville for a little while and New York City, correct? Before moving back to Charlotte.
Yeah, I lived in Nashville for 2 years. It was right at the beginning of 2020 is when I moved to Nashville, and then
tough time to move to Nashville.
Yeah. It was a tricky gig, and then shortly after that, I lived in New York City for a year and moved back to Charlotte shortly after that. So
you guys kind of regrouped pretty soon after moving back to Charlotte, huh?
Yeah. We kind of wanted to. We were maybe like a little bit more focused on wanting to write originals and like instrumental music when we got back together, because we were kind of just like, hey, like the whole like Wolfpack thing is pretty cool, and Scary Pockets are pretty cool, doing the funky cover versions of things. And so we kind of were like, let's try and do something more original focused, more artistic in this field this time, instead of just sticking to kind of being like a cover band.
Right on. Yeah. Do you guys get asked often the meaning behind the name?
We do, yeah.
How about some insight on that? What does Phat Waffle mean? At least once.
Yeah, sure. So definitely, I think that it just kind of like came up as a joke at first.
Sure.
And the more that we kind of like read into it, I think people kind of like take it as a sexual thing, or people kind of like have a lot of different interpretations of it. But that's the one that I most often hear.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. And it sounds like that because I think like funk music is naturally just kind of like lends itself to that.
Right.
But I think from like a more kind of like artistic approach, like I really like thinking of Phat Waffle as kind of like this just extraordinarily big waffle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I kind of love that idea. There's nothing more to it than just the biggest waffle.
Not just a pH fat waffle, but a FAT fat waffle. Big and round, right?
Yeah, a big waffle.
I love it. So you dropped some names there, like Wolfpack and stuff like that. So how would you describe your sound to someone who's maybe never heard you before? Would you say funk?
Yeah, I think funk music fits us a lot. Another thing that I get from people in the audience who listen to us, we get kind of like put together with a lot of jam bands too.
Right.
So they're like, oh, you guys would be awesome opening up for Billy Strings or
That's wild.
the String Cheese Incident or Fish or something like that. Like
Right.
that's what I get a lot because we actually we jam quite a bit. We do like instrumental sections on songs and kind of morph things that aren't necessarily funk songs into
Right.
funkier songs.
Right.
And definitely with like a focus on long improvisation sections.
Right
So,
on. Well, I know you guys are here collectively as Phat Waffle, but again, each of you have such a great career starting out in Music Charlotte, locally. I'd like for you guys to kind of go around and tell us some other things that you guys kind of do. So Mike, you have Phat Waffle, but what are some other projects that you're involved with?
Yeah, so I do a live band karaoke band. And Jason, that's a gig that you and I do together often.
Yep.
And so there's one that we do at Bradshaw's that happens every Thursday, and another one that happens at Goldie's every other Wednesday. Yeah, yeah.
Every other Wednesday. Yeah.
So it's kind of spreading, and it's becoming a popular thing, I think. I've heard of like another band doing it in Rock Hill, and so it seems like live band karaoke is kind of becoming a thing in Charlotte. Actually, a couple of us did a live band karaoke gig a couple weeks ago. It was like a private event type of thing, and so it's just something that's been kind of. I would say that's probably the next most thing that I do is play live band karaoke.
At the moment, right? Because like I said, as a musician working in Charlotte, I think one of the key things is to being diversified. It's really hard to make it as a singular band. So how people always ask me, "Oh, where's your band this week?" I was like, "Well, depends on what week it is and what band you're talking about because one band doesn't really cut it." So I feel you on that.
Life.
Well, yeah, especially like in Charlotte. Yeah,
For sure.
How about you, Josh? I know you're back there being all quiet, but you've got one of the premier Pearl Jam tribute bands going on, right? Would you like to talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, man. It's probably my
And maybe lean into the mic.
It's one of the bigger gigs that I do more often, and it was started in Charlotte a couple years. Oh God, maybe 11 years ago now.
Right on.
I just joined 2 years ago. We play around Charlotte to Vigilite twice a year, and we go down to Jacksonville. We were in D.C. Last weekend. We're going to Nashville at the end of this month.
And that's Jeremy's 10.
Jeremy's
correct.
10, a Pearl Jam tribute. Yeah.
Right.
So that's and then Phat Waffle. And,
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we have a Hey LA.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same musicians.
Uh-huh.
kinda Do different projects.
Right on.
With the same band, pretty much.
That's the name of the game for I believe in Charlotte. Definitely. And you got Maxwell. Not only are you phenomenal on stage with the bass, but then you're one of our premier front of house men in Charlotte, I would say.
I kind of like having music have my fingers in all aspects of live music in particular. I love live music. It's one of my favorite things.
Right.
I've been playing bass about 20 years, and I've been a part and filled in with different people. Mm-hmm. I've been in that Jeremy's 10 band.
Oh, right on.
Before Josh, I guess 2019.
Yeah.
In and out of it.
Right.
Just as, as these things go.
Right.
I've been playing with Mike for a while, and we had an older group called Radio Jacks.
I remember Radio Jacks.
We did I did it for like 5 years. I think Mike got me the gig, but I did it for a little bit. I love my live music.
Yeah.
The technical aspect is really interesting to me. I like that a lot. I do sound mostly at the Fillmore Neighborhood
Great
Theater.
venue, yes.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
Just my fingers in different pots.
Love
That's
it.
what I like to say.
Yes, sir. Will Bose on keys. What are you into now, Will, besides Phat Waffle? Where else do you like to express yourself?
My primary project I'm working on right now is a group called Friday Night Vibe. It's a group that I lead from the keyboard. We were a piano trio for a while, so just drums and bass.
Yeah.
We were recently joined by my friend James on saxophone. And we can take gigs and do straight ahead jazz, like cocktail hour type of stuff.
Fantastic.
But it's primarily for me to kind of do some of my original tunes that kind of have real book type of changes that we improvise over, but they're a little more kind of funky, I don't know, neo soul type of stuff.
Fantastic.
Shout out David.
Yeah.
Shout out David Gibson on the drums.
I love it. I love Dave Gibson. He was in the studio here with Jason Hilliard not too long ago. Love it.
Oh,
Love it.
wow.
Yeah. And Miss LA, birthday girl. You have quite a storied history. I remember meeting you years ago. You came to town. I don't know how long you were in Charlotte, but you worked at the Dueling Piano Bar, correct?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
Oh, I didn't even know if I should go back that far.
If
but
you want to, you know.
Currently, I'm in about 5 bands,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to do this full time. So, spreading my hands into a bunch of different bands to try and get like the part-time bands is really what's happening in Charlotte to make it a full-time career. And then I also run private lessons. I also am trying to get a YouTube channel going here, but I've been in Charlotte trying to do music live for at least 10, 12 years at least. And I met these guys from Radio Jacks, our college project.
Yeah.
I would call it my college project. And
It was, yeah.
yeah. So from there, dueling pianos, and then in and out of a lot of different bands and subbing and just finding my way.
Yep.
And we have Hey LA Band, Phat Waffle. This Saturday, we're premiering a new band called Panda.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's going to be at Taste of Charlotte.
Oh, wonderful.
On
Is that
Saturday.
original party band? What is
That's
that?
actually a
Vibe?
party band.
Awesome.
So yes.
Yeah. Very cool.
Agency, like wedding and corporate type of band. But
Having fun.
yeah.
That's the name of the
No
game.
doubt.
The Phat Waffle, I'd say, is like the passion project of like getting to do the original music.
Right. So that is sort of transition, like I said, from the beginnings of maybe being a fill-in cover band to being, this is going to be our outlet for original music for all you guys. I love that. So when it comes to writing music, what's your approach? Like, Mike, do you kind of handle most of the songwriting, or is it something now with LA in the group? Are you guys collaborating more? How does that work?
It feels collaborative.
Right.
And sometimes we'll get to practice. We've lately been having practice at my house.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll just do like, sometimes I'll start, Will will start, and it's just a thing we'll like jam on and like kind of meditate on. Bring the phone out, record it, meditate on it, and expand on it from there. That's I think that's pretty much how most of the songs that are out now have started.
So be honest now. When it comes to rehearsing, who's the last one to show up to rehearsal?
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Mike. I had to think about it.
Has anybody ever had to skip one with a totally ridiculous excuse?
That's a good question.
I don't think any ridiculous excuses.
I called a rain check last week.
Normal excuses.
But, you know,
Just normal
Max
excuses.
is a great host, and he's always making
Yeah.
dinner, so we are eager to get there for some
Oh,
delicious
nice.
meals at band practice.
I love to cook.
Yeah.
A lot of waffles.
I haven't made a waffle yet, and I thought about it yesterday. I was like, damn, I should make a waffle.
More savory than sweet, I guess, for dinner.
Get
Right,
a
right.
waffle iron. Just make 'em.
So whenever when you write, do you write with more of your live performance in mind, or more like studio-driven approach? Like more like, succinct,
wow.
we
That's
want
a
to
good
make this
question.
song a 3-minute song, or do you kind of just let it free flow and mainly focus on the live performance?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times it's a focus on kind of like free flow, like let the instrumental section of the song build itself out, and then me coming back in with writing lyrics or writing melodies to the song. Or sometimes, I mean, I've had a couple of times in mind that I can think of where Will had a melody that he was playing on the keyboard, and I was just like, oh, let me write a vocal part around that. And not to take your part away, but I think that's just kind of like lends itself to us just letting things happen in the moment, not being so structured or regimented, like in how we approach songwriting, and just trying to like let things happen in the moment as they come to us.
Right.
And try to have the songwriting or the actual like lyric writing be kind of something that we do after,
Right.
From that foundation that we built for the songs.
I understand that. I'm that way too. Like I've always been more music driven, and lyrics and things like that kind of come second. Like I could listen to instrumental music all the time. You know?
I'm so bad at writing lyrics.
Yeah,
Also,
right.
I let Mike handle it.
Well, I think a cool part about that and like having LA in the band would be great is just having like the ear for the vocal part, because a lot of the times like when we're playing, like I hear guitar parts or I hear the music side of it, to your point.
Yeah.
So I think like having her in the dynamic with us as well.
Yeah.
And because she just has like a notebook full of songs and lyrics where you're just ready.
Also, almost the opposite of what you guys were saying is like I have lyrics first and then everything else comes second.
There you go.
It's valid though. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think a very balanced approach to songwriting, and have someone like, you know, as you guys are kind of warming up, I heard her just kind of humming a melody, you know, and I don't know if that was already an established song, but it's like, to me, it sounded like you guys are kind of funking it up a little bit, and she was just kind of improvising over it. It's like, wow, that could be the beginning of a song right there. So that's really cool to have that mix. So you guys just released a couple original tracks, correct? Choose Myself and the Waffle Anthem, right? So tell us a little bit about the process of recording that.
That is quite a story.
Yeah.
And really probably started in 2023, around the time when I had moved back and we were all kind of together. I lived in a place in Noda for a while, and we used to have rehearsals in my little garage there. And I think like that is kind of when we started the process of putting things together, trying to get them recorded down on some kind of interface or software, you know, kind of looking at that like Wolfpack approach or the Scary Pockets approach of kind of like very DIY approach to recording
live,
music.
One take.
Yeah, and we were
You
kind
guys
of...
are handling it all. Did you guys record that on your own?
Yeah, we started... funny enough, what I'll say about these recordings is... we had kind of worked on refining the arrangements up to the point of basically we were in the playroom for about 6 months. And on the last month that we were in the playroom, we set up a camera above Josh. And the engineer that did these recordings, Cole Millward, was like, I will basically just recreate these drums, and that will be kind of the template that we use to make all of this music from.
Wow.
And so we already had our arrangements down really tight. It was a very stressful day of rehearsal just to be able to get videos from up here.
Sure.
But when that had happened, it kind of started that process of Cole kind of like programming in the drums and making that happen. And then Max and Will and I coming in and doing all of our instruments at home, basically sending tracks back and forth between each other.
Right.
And getting that down until I started working on the vocal parts. And that is when I kind of went into the studio with Cole and their Giant Spoon Productions is the name of their recording.
Cool.
Him and James Nelson kind of like run that together.
Oh man, those two guys are amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Shout out No Spoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Now, when it comes to recording remotely like that, do you guys find it hard? I find if people hire me to want to do remote recording, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that, no problem. But then I found it really difficult to make the time to sit down and do it. It's like, if you book me for a session, like, let's go, I want to go to the studio. Because I feel like that's
so much fun.
Otherwise, I just get in my head and I will work on a part for hours. Whereas if I get hired to go to a session, I'll go and knock it out and I'll play something that the people want to hear right then and there. And I'm like, okay, great. And it takes me, but it's a challenge, I think, recording remotely.
It's an interesting divide.
It's convenient, but, I got to wash these dishes first, or I got to do this first. I'm going to take my dog for a walk, and then I'll come back record. But then the next thing you know, it's like the day's gone. So.
It's like the opposite of working from home is really nice for people who can do that, on a normal job.
Yeah.
But for a musician, you can spend so long on it.
Yeah, exactly. You turn around, it's
You're
like,
wow,
wow.
I didn't get anything done.
It's 6 hours on that. So I don't know. I think it's interesting, but congratulations for you guys for able to make that happen and make some great recordings. So that's awesome.
I will say about that there were moments where it was difficult, to your point, where I'd spend maybe an entire day working on a guitar part just to be like, that's not the part, that's not the sound that I want.
Yeah.
I at least struggle with that. I felt like that, working with Max and Will on getting their parts together, from my perspective, since they were just sending it to me, it was like, oh, you guys did that so fast. That's awesome. That's great. And it was great parts. So I don't know if y'all want to talk about maybe your...
Well, yeah. So what's been the hardest moment for the band behind the scenes that maybe fans didn't know about it? What's been the biggest challenge, the biggest, hardest part for Phat Waffle?
Probably finding time to get all of us together in a room.
That is pretty difficult.
Right.
Yeah. I think maybe figuring out what Phat Waffle is, like literally when people ask us what Phat Waffle is, 'cause it's just been
Well, I like your explanation earlier. Is like, hey, let them kind of come up with their own, perception.
That's my default.
Yeah.
I don't know. Figure it out.
Right. Absolutely. So let me ask another question. You guys are essentially a funk band, seems like, but what's the most unfunky artist that you would claim to be one of your main influences? Anybody
wow,
unfunky?
that's a good question.
That is a great question.
So I guess I would say for me,
Turn this off.
I would say probably Van Halen is not funky to me.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing.
Yeah.
Just such a legend and so innovative with kind of how he approached the instrument. And so I would say like that's something I can always come back and listen to, and just always be inspired by.
Right.
And is not what I would consider funk music.
Anybody else want to chime in? Any unfunkiness?
Yeah, I guess one of my biggest influences would be Ella Fitzgerald, which is jazz. So I feel like vocally I have a lot of jazz influence, but funk would be, I guess, adjacent to blues and jazz, but not necessarily the same.
Right. How about you, Will? Anybody unfunky in your background?
I'm sure, yeah, but I'm kind of from the same vein where most of my influences come from jazz.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of those guys, and I feel like, it would be almost an insult to say like Oscar Peterson isn't funky.
Well,
you know
no,
what I mean?
I would say he is funky. But definitely I could see, obviously more of a jazz juggernaut, but can't deny he's funky. And also like a pioneer on electric keyboards. Like, I don't know if you've seen some really cool footage of him breaking out some early synthesizer stuff. Oscar Peterson just ripping it up on a synthesizer. So cool. Nice. And definitely funky. Well, hey, we got time. We're going to do a quick break and get you guys wired up to play a couple of songs for us. So this has been Phat Waffle in the rBeatz.com studio. Local music somewhere with Greazy Keyz. Take a short break here for some sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Today, we are proud to present the latest addition to the rBeatz trending show, Greazy Keyz. Take it away, Greazy.
Hey, thanks so much, Annalise. I'm thrilled to be here and look forward to the show.
Thank you so much, Greazy, and welcome back to this week's segment of What's Trending Now on rBeatz Radio, Media, and Streaming Network. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and now let's get started with our upcoming local, national, and international concerts, starting off with Billy Idol, who's performing with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts at Madison Square Garden on Wednesday, August 20th. Doors open at 7 p.m. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Greazy, ever been to Madison Square Garden?
Annalise, I haven't had the pleasure to play there yet, but one of these days, it's one of my dreams.
We're going to manifest that right here at rBeatz. Superstar Tate McRae is headed on her Miss Possessive tour and is headed to both Charlotte's Spectrum Center on Friday, October 24th and Raleigh Lenovo Center on Saturday, October 25th. Doors open at 7 p.m. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Greazy, ever been to Raleigh before?
Oh, yeah. I love our little state capital. Played there many times over the years and seen a lot of great shows. Love Raleigh.
Go see him when he's performing next. Calling all fellow monsters, Lady Gaga is headed on tour for the Mayhem Ball, performing at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California on Fridays and Saturday, August 1st and 2nd. Doors open at 8 p.m. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Greazy, what's your favorite Lady Gaga song?
I got to say, Born This Way has always been a big favorite of mine. I've always been a little monster for Lady Gaga.
Yeah, we love Lady Gaga here at rBeatz. And this is Annalise Pearl and Greazy Keyz bringing you all the new details on the latest trending water cooler conversations. Stay on top of the rBeatz app and rBeatz.com. Always bring you the best independent national and international music artists, constant influence influences are right here on the rBeatz app. You all know the drill. Now let's get started with this week's DJ World Beats top trending songs. Spinning now on 25/8/366, our global pop stream, DJ World Beats brings you Maison by Emilio Piano featuring Lucy, Raymond Parados by Maria Barsar and Paulo Leandro, Spingal by Luan and Lamanio. Trending now on rBeatz Radio, our house and EDM stream, we have The Way I Love You by Georgia Smith, Open Your Eyes by Pascal, Freaking You Out by Robin Schultz, Nervo, and Copy. And coming up on We Global Radio, our hip hop and R&B stream, we have I'll Be Good by Jay Don, Kissing in Public by Dustin Conrad, Where You Gonna Go by Eric Robertson and BJ the Chicago Kid, So Beautiful by Johnny Venus and Black, Heavyweight by Junior Chow featuring Quavo, New Louis Vuitton featuring Khan and Yodom with Shy Boy Toby and Whalem. And we closing out on USA Heroes, our classic rock and country station, we have Getting Gone by Ernest featuring Snoop Dogg, All the Way by Big X The Pulp featuring Bailey Zimmerman, FUFN Acoustic by Jade, and the Typo House featuring Jethro Tull. And stepping up on the main stage with Spotify playlist Only Bangers Hits Different, we have Holding Back the Years by Paolo. That concludes this week's countdown. And be sure to check out our social media sensation show, What's Trending Now, where we've got Greazy Keyz as our new addition. And be sure to check out rBeatz TV on YouTube and rbeatz.com. Thanks for watching. Take it away, Greazy.
All right. Thank you so much, Annalise. That was really, really fun. In the studio today, we have Phat Waffle. Welcome back, guys. We're going to hear some live music from you guys right now. Tell us about your first tune.
Yeah, this is called Choose Myself. We just released this tune last week. This is just a song about, it's like a positive, uplifting, just being yourself and don't compromise for other people and do what makes you happy.
Awesome. Let's rip it up, guys.
Split me in two. I'm feeling down and low. I got to find myself, embrace a brand new way. You try to change me, I'm gonna choose myself today. It can be so simple to see the pattern of break. It's all about how you treat yourself. The real you is here to stay. It's time to be myself. I'm gonna choose myself today. I won't let them change me. I won't let them break me. Yeah, keep going and going and going and going. I'll be the one to love me. Hey, the haters will hate, the fakers are fake. Be myself and nobody else. It's time to be myself. Time to be myself. Time to be myself. Be my woo. Be yourself. They still might doubt you. There's nothing else to say. Some people can't expect. They've been shown reality. Don't tell them kiss my ass. I'm gonna choose myself today. I'm gonna
Studio, bringing it. Man, that was awesome, guys. Way to go. You got at least one more in there for us? What do you think?
We do. All right, so I want to feature a song that was written by our very own LA for her birthday today. So this one is called Now We're Together, and nobody has heard this before.
Fantastic. So exclusive in the rBeatz Studio. Let's go.
At least the Phat Waffle version, right, LA? It is
right.
available for streaming.
It is on streaming, but not the Phat Waffle way.
Oh, so what version is available?
More of like a lo-fi version.
Under your
Hey
under your
LA.
name? Hey LA. Okay, cool. Awesome.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah. Ooh. Let me hear that again. What you got? Baby, I'm a planner, yes I am, but I never planned that you'd be my man, I'm trying my hardest to say no to you. Beautiful enchanters, stop smiling at me, looking at me. Now we're together, now we're together, now we're together now. Now we're together, now we're together, now we're together now. Illness begins with I, wellness begins with we. Let's talk this out, I could really use some company. It's not my plan to get with you. Beautiful enchanters, stop smiling at me, looking at me. Just here for a hangout, to be honest. But no one's ever gazed at me like a true goddess. You're genuine and unexpected. I drive you home and don't contest it. We play some tunes and drink some booze. Then we end up in your room and we're together, we're together, we're together, we're together, we're together, we're together, we're together now.
So good. Phat Waffle, rBeatz Studio. Man, I know you guys are all pretty busy. And, for to ask you when your next show was, you should have something different. But when would be the next time we could catch Phat Waffle all together somewhere live?
So, as far as Phat Waffle as far as it being labeled Phat Waffle, We don't have anything labeled Phat Waffle.
All right, well, never
to
mind.
LA's point, this Saturday we
Okay,
will
good.
be at a Taste of Charlotte.
Fantastic. As Panda.
All of us.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
as Panda.
Yeah.
Right
But
on.
it is essentially the Phat Waffle band.
We'll
Just
be throwing
kinda
a couple of the,
different
Yes.
some of the things we do.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be Taste of Charlotte. What time? What time's the set?
It's
8 to 11 p.m.
Nice.
Last
That'd be amazing. I know a lot of things going on downtown Charlotte this weekend, and that'll be one of them. And so I hope you guys have a great time and draw a great crowd out there.
Shout out Food Lion. Food
Food Line, that's right. Taste of Charlotte. Make sure to get out there and get you a taste of Panda. Wait, no. Taste of
right.
Phat Waffle Panda. I don't know.
Panda
But
Waffle.
hey, man,
you
thank
know.
you guys so much again for taking time to come in the studio today. Congratulations on your latest releases, and wish you guys all the best in Phat Waffle and all your other musical endeavors. You guys are each a very important part of the musical community here in Charlotte, and I'm proud to know each of you guys and want to wish you guys all the best.
Thanks,
And we'll definitely want to have you guys back on rBeatz. Keep up with you guys. So we'll be featuring your releases on our trending shows as well. So
All right.
thrilled you guys are coming in and making it awesome.
Thank
so
you.
Hey, thanks for having us. Thank you.
this has been Greazy Keyz with rBeatz.com. My guests today were Phat Waffle. We'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.
Yeah, 316. Got game and pulled out his own Atari. I said sorry, I'ma have to pass like Nash to Amari. Tiger up early on a Sunday, sinking birdies while the pigskin spinning through the air, tight and birdie. It's a TD, it's a TKO, a home run, it's a hat trick. Ain't no way to be an all-star without practice. So if you down to sacrifice your life for a draft pick, it's a pretty sweet position you can live in if you have some things in the air. If you got game, wave 'em like you just don't care. If you got game, playing like you got no fit and you got game.